Myers, good to see you, man. Welcome to the show.
Hey, what's happening?
A lot is happening in this show. I feel like every time I watch a new episode, I feel like you go on a workout, right? Even when it's not action, like just what happens with the characters, everything's big scale. Does it read like that? Like first episode of this?
Yeah, it's crazy. I'm either like doing a workout running around from monsters, or I'm doing like a facial workout because the emotions are so high. It was nuts. Big scale, but also at the same time, you're acting against a big screen and you're like, I don't know what's going to be here. And then you watch the show and there's an entire battleship with a monster above it. It's crazy.
But unique in a sense of big scale, yeah, because like when the trailers came out, yeah, Godzilla and everything and all the monsters, but like you said, these characters are so like there's so much happening, there's so much arc, there's so much emotion. I feel like they're drawn, like they're fleshed out so well, Anders, that like you really like are invested in them. So when something kind of heartbreaking happens, so for you, this journey of like reading the script and then going and filming it, are those two separate journeys, or does it feel like one overall from a storytelling acting perspective?
No, it's one journey, and the scripts are so good and like they keep it moving, and there's so many like intricate gears turning together to make like the whole thing work. That my hat goes off to Chris and Matt, who like wrote the show and ran the show, and they just have big brains to like do two timelines and forward and backwards and like mysteries and reveals and like exciting action. It's an accomplishment.
It's interesting too, because I always find it interesting when you're kind of traveling back in time for a role. Your character is part of kind of flashbacks,
yeah,
but your character is also playing the younger version of someone that we have seen before on screens and other things.
Yeah.
So that's pretty cool in itself, right? Because it's cool to go back in a flashback, but you're really part of the origin story.
Yeah. No, it's great. I mean, yeah, the secret is, it's not a secret. I'm playing young John Goodman, right? Bill Randa. Yeah, who was in Kong Skull Island, and he was at a certain point in his life there, and now we're going all the way back to the beginning of Monarch, which is the agency he founded, which is hunting to understand these monsters that may be out there. And then we start discovering, that they are out there, there's more, where they live, where they come from. It's crazy.
Obviously, different worlds, different characters, but at the end of the day, it is all storytelling. And I'm just curious, when you have stuff like Workaholics and the Mindy project, which is kind of comedy and rooted in a lot of that, which at times does have heart. Yeah. Is there things from those type of projects that you could take to Monarch Legacy of the Monsters, or are they kind of separate in that way?
No. The bottom line for me is have fun. You know what I mean? And if there's an emotional scene, like, it's fun for me to try and portray that. I don't go stand in a corner and think about like my dead grandma, RIP. I just think about how to portray that with my face. And when they say cut, I go, is lunch ready yet? Or like, are we doing this a couple more times, And then you're back in it and you're sad and there's dead people and you're running. You know what I mean? Like it's all fun.
It's interesting too, because, all the effects in this show, like the VFX in this is like some of the greatest things I've ever seen. Like it's so cool.
Yeah.
It's interesting, right? Because you're running away, but like we see on screen what you're running from, but like you don't see it. You know what I mean? You're just running. Do you think about things like that at all when the product comes out, or is that just kind of part of the game at the end of the day, right?
I mean, so sometimes they do show us a previs, like a pre-visualization, which is like a moving rough storyboard of what it's going to be, but like, you're running from a stick figure of whatever. But when you're on set, you just are like, dude, what if something was behind you? Like, what would that be like? How would you feel? Then you try and just, again, show it. And then you get the pleasure of watching it all cut together and you're like, I look scared. That thing's scary,
Yeah, what on earth would Durs from Workaholics do if he came across these guys? I don't even know what his first thing would be.
I think he would turn around and go, excuse me, you wrecked my battleship, okay? It's just rude.
Yeah.
I don't know who does that.
Would he write a rap song about it?
He might.
Or we kind of
be
past
like,
that?
You wrecked my battleship. Now I'm gonna go tattle on it. I don't know if that works, but he's gonna go tell HR or something.
Yeah. Looking at a show like this where it's like episode to episode because we're watching so many things in different ways. Everything gets thrown at once, like the binge culture, right? Where we watch them all.
Yeah.
We wait week for week with this, but this is like the best show to watch week to week because you have all these theories and the dinner table conversations.
Yeah.
What do you think like about that specifically? Like there's so much things to talk about week after week with the show.
Look, man, to each their own. But I will say, when I watch a show and I binge it, whether it's Barry or something like that, where I'm like, this is great, I gotta watch the next episode, I gotta see how things unfold. Like, I do feel like as soon as it's over in like the fastest amount of time, that it becomes more disposable. It doesn't live in me as long. And so I like that this is, one episode a week, really soak it in. I think we dropped 2 episodes to begin with to like really get people into it. But yeah, once a week, and then you can kind of, look forward to it. You don't want to. You could binge it later.
Yeah, and to kind of add to your comment about to each their own, because I feel like it depends on kind of the situation and everything. But these are characters that we know about. Godzilla is and like like I say, the monster, that's a huge world and everything.
Yeah.
So there is source material to kind of look at and everything. Are you invested? Like, what is the relationship with the source material prior to kind of going and filming this? Like, are you thinking about it a lot, or are you just kind of going in and then it is what it is type thing?
I'm not thinking about it. I'm just going in. Yeah, we're focused on the scripts. Now that I'm doing press, I'm thinking a lot more about it because that's some of the questions. People are like, man, you're part of this huge legacy. And I'm like, oh yeah, like, God, I hope I'm pulling my weight. You know what I mean? But like day to day, going to the job, like you're just checking the pages you're doing that day and really concentrating on the scene. If I was like thinking about the like 70-year legacy of Godzilla every time they called action, I don't think I'd be doing too well out there. I think I'd be like, gulp. Yeah.
It's so funny you mentioned the press thing because early on, when I do a lot of these, I would always start it like being like, has it hit you that the show's coming out soon? Like, what's it like? And then the answer would always be like, well, we're talking to like 100 outlets today. So yes, today it's hitting me. So I retire that question.
Right. And you filmed things like so long ago that it's like,
yeah,
although these things are getting shelved so often now, you're like, just stoked it came out at all. Some people work on shows, 10 episodes, and then they just go, we're going to delete that. But, so we're stoked about this one.
The show, Monarch Legacy of Monsters on Apple TV Plus. Congratulations, man. You were so good in this. Thank you so much for your time, man. It was great chatting with you.
Thanks. Nice to meet you, bud.
Thank you for tuning in to Popternative. Make sure to check out our past episodes of Popternative on YouTube.
This has been an Autograph Communications production.